Well, composting is a great way to reduce your carbon footprint, reduce waste, and enrich your soil in an organic way. Well, we took a trip to the Denver Urban Gardens compost site to learn how we can do this in our own backyards.
Backyard composting is such a simple process. In its essence, it is the decomposition of organic material to produce a wonderful product called humus, which is rich in macro and micronutrients, meaning it will feed our plants, it will feed all the organisms in the soil. Composting and I really kind of align to thriving high-level wellness. So if I want my body to be the best I can, first of all, if I'm eating things, I like to chew them. Manageable pieces, so a person isn't stuffing an apple down my throat. Align that to a compost pile. We chop everything in small pieces because what's responsible for doing decomposition are bacteria and fungi. We're going to try and cut this up into 1 to 2 inch pieces. So we need to process this more, right? So again, we don't put stuff in that is whole. Oh, chopping up that cucumber. So we can use a shovel, we can use pruning tools. We'll show you many ways. We had some old charred stems in here. Oh, looks like we have a great source of brown material. What do we got here?
Some branches.
Branches. Yep, I'm watching my hands on that one. One more, it's moving. Okay. So all this stuff gets chopped up. The next thing is I need to drink a lot of water in order to stay healthy. Our compost piles always need to feel like a wrung out sponge. So it almost feels like it's glistening. Again, bacteria and fungi do decomposition. Their bodies are almost 100% water, so material needs to be moist all the time. I exercise, I move the old body. We exercise the compost pile by turning it once every week or once every 2 weeks. That provides new areas for the microorganisms to eat. It also introduces air. Another thing is, if I'm living in a home, I would prefer it to have a roof over its head and certain dimensions for me to feel comfortable. So with a backyard composting system, a minimum of about a cubic yard so that we can build high, not long and low. So about a 3 foot wide by 3 foot long by 3 foot high system, however you choose to do it. And probably most importantly for my thriving body is a good source of balanced nutrition. And in a compost pile, that means we're talking about material which is higher in carbon, which usually tough brown woody material, leaves or straw or the stems of garden plants that you cut down. So, you know, end of season, I'm looking at our compost demo site. We have a very, very giving trumpet vine, which takes over everything. We can't even sit down anymore. So this is a mix of carbon material, the tough stems, that's going to give structure to the pile, and the nitrogen material, the green leaves, which are going to make the pile heat up.
Looks like we have a giant cucumber.
Oh my goodness, a giant, so non-meat food waste. That's a source of nitrogen.
Looks like we have some leaves from last season.
Oh, they've already decomposed, and what we can see on these leaves are some of the fungal spores, those little black dots. Decomposition, even in a dry state, is happening. Fine. What else have we got?
Looks like we found some straw.
Oh, some
straw bale.
Straw, that's brown material carbon. And what else have we got?
Some flowers that we picked at the end of the season, cleaning up the garden.
What I've got down here is a little seedling of a honey locust, which unfortunately cannot be allowed to get to be a 150-foot tall tree. So we're going to utilize it in its juvenile form, hoping that we do not hurt ourselves with a yellow jacket. I'm going to hold it.
Yeah, be careful of those.
Yes, I'm seeing it. And I'm going to have Lori prune that down. Okay. More about, okay. Wonderful source of succulent juvenile green material. Iris, blooming in July or so. We're going to make it a little fan shape. So I'm going to ask Lori to make a little fan shape on iris to carry them through the winter. That's what it should look like. Wonderful source of nitrogen material. This is called lamb's ears. They've gone to seed and flower. And I'm going to have 1 or 2 volunteers of my master compost cut them down at soil level. We're using a source of natural ingredients that's going to feed the whole biome. So we're not using chemical pesticides or fertilizers?
So we have a long history of working with Denver Urban Gardens on all topics of backyard composting. Specifically, we partner with Denver Urban Gardens on the Denver Master Composter program, where we train individuals on backyard composting basics, and then those individuals can then teach the general public about backyard composting. There's a lot of benefits to composting, and so here in Denver, we feel strongly that every single Denver resident has a way to compost one way or another. And backyard composting that we have here on display at the Denver Compost Demonstration Site is one of those methods, but we also have the Denver Compost program available to folks, and then even if those two options don't work for you, there's also ways to drop off your compostable materials. And then also, if you're in an apartment, you can also hire a collection service to compost your food scraps. So plenty of options, and we also recommend folks doing more than one. The Denver Compost program pairs really nicely with backyard composting because there are benefits to both methods of composting.
So even if you can't compost at home due to HOA or for whatever reason, you can still get involved. And you have 2 more chances to take one of Jungle Judy's Master Composting class, October the 7th and October the 9th. Find more classes, events, and connect with your community at doug.org. And happy composting, everyone.